start recording here. APA, let me get the presentation. What is it? I'm sorry, just let me look for the presentation. I had it here, but I don't know where is it. Okay, I got it. Okay, good. If you have like any question during the presentation, feel free to ask it. In today's session, we're gonna be talking about what is APA, like the format we're gonna use from now on for all the pieces of writing that we're gonna work in class, right? For all the assignments you will have from today on, you will use APA. We'll also talk about plagiarism, which is a common practice within novice writers, because you are too lazy to write and you prefer like copy and paste. That's like some reason, or because you don't know how to cite appropriately an author or a source. So that would be like indirect plagiarism or unconscious plagiarism. Sorry, because of the man. We will cover like basic principles. And when I say basic principles, just let's wait for the man of plantain just to go away. Okay, very good. So when I say basic principle, is do you have like the most common notions that you need when working with APA? Because there is vast information about this, and it is impossible that we memorize everything. What we have to be careful about is just to have like the general framework, so we can later on, if we have doubts, go to the manual. That's why we have a manual, right? So we can just look for something that we're not sure about. We will be dealing with in-text citations, which are the ones we're going to start using from now on, and references format, because remember, if we use a citation, we must include the reference or the source from where we get the citation, right? So that is important. So that's basically what we're going to cover today. Good. So let's talk about APA. There are other styles like MLA, like Chicago, right? But APA, which is American Psychological Association, that is the format of this community they use, is the most used around the world and in the academic field, right? In the scholar community. So basically, the APA style are the foundations, right? In the effective scholar communication. When we say effective scholar communication, we refer to something that we can present ideas in a clear way, very precise and inclusive. And when we say inclusive, means that anybody that knows the style, which is almost everybody in the scholar community around the world, can read and follow the information and track the sources, right, effectively. The APA came or appeared in 1929, right? And as I said before, it's something that the American Psychological Association created just to have like uniformity and consistency in the way they presented, right, their works. It's like, say, for example, okay, everybody is going to present the work in using Times New Romans, or everybody is going to present using a Calibri, because those type of styles in later format are easier to read than the other ones, right? So like to look for uniformity and consistency. That's basically where we use a format, not only for citations and not only for references, even when we present, I mean, the margins, the size of the letter, the type of letter, the space between each line, everything is in the APA style. Okay, so let's talk about plagiarism. As I said before, plagiarism is a very common practice, especially among novice, like beginners writers, right? Sometimes when you have to write something, and I have to admit, and I understand that writing is very complex, time demanding or time consuming activity, right? And you sometimes like feel frustrated and you find something in the internet or in a book and you just type it and you include it on your work as if you were the author of that information. That is called plagiarism, right? And that's not fair because if we using an idea that somebody like thought, read, made an investigation, right, to produce that knowledge, it is fair that we give credits to that person, to that organization, to those people, right? So that's important, that ethics. We talk about ethics, right? So even, Jesus Christ, even when we produce, when we like make a word, we publish the word and we use it for another like assignment, like we make self-plagiarism. That's another thing that you have to consider, right? That even if it is you, you have to cite yourself in your work if you are using your own ideas, right? So that is important. Really? Good. So another thing you have to consider is that plagiarism is a legal issue, right? Maybe here in Colombia it's not a big deal, but in some countries like United States or in Europe, that's a serious thing, right? If you plagiarize something, that's a crime, literally. That's a crime, right? And you can be object of an investigation or some penalties or something like that. So plagiarism is not like just a concept or just something that we have to keep because of ethics. No, it's a legal issue, even here in Colombia. What happened here is that I mean, we don't pay too much attention. I mean, no teachers, not like university in general. When I say they don't pay attention, it's in general. They don't pay too much attention on that, right? But if you want to publish an article, an essay, a piece of writing in a journal, in a research journal, or in a magazine, on a well-recognized web page, you will be like filtered. You will be studying your piece of writing, and if they found like plagiarism, then they will be rejected because they are very strict, right? So it's important that from now on, you start considering that you cannot copy and paste from the internet. And also because I will start checking all your writing with programs. There is one that is called Plagiarism Checker. If you go to university library, you can just open the page. I will show you now. And just paste your work there to make sure that you're not plagiarizing anything, right? So I'm just scared, stop the presentation for a while, and I'm going to show you something. Good. Here, in this case, right, this is the one, you can use it. I'm going to send you the link through the Zoom chat so you can have it. Okay, this is the one. It's for free. It has like limitation because you can only like paste here for checking 1,000 words, which is, I mean, you can split your work. If you have more words on your piece of writing, you can split the words and check it like 2 times or 3 times. It depends. It is just a matter of pasting here, right? and just click on check plagiarism, and it will give you like something. So let's try, for example, with this abstract. Let's see what happened. I copied, I paste it here, right? And it automatically recognizes the language. So you can use it for Spanish, for French, for English, and then we check it. And you see, it starts like appearing the percentage of plagiarized work, because when I paste the piece of writing here, the plagiarization suppose that is mine, right? Although we have some references here, they suppose that is mine, so you can also check, okay, plagiarize this part, plagiarize this part, plagiarize this part. So I will start checking all your works through this checker. So you keep that in mind. Very good. Now let's talk about the
Mister,
basic
sorry,
principles of, yes, Maria Lucia.
you were showing the plagiarism check, the program,
Yeah, it works online. It's not a, well, it's a
because
program, but it's online. I don't have the program because they are too expensive. Like
and you
$200 a
send the
month.
link.
So I am going to send the link. So you have it here. Profe, compra aguacate. Yeah, I have it on my fridge. I don't need. Let me just get the link so you have it. Okay, here it is, right? And I'm also include this one, and I will tell you later why. APA. Keep those links. They will be really helpful. And let's go back to the presentation. Very good. So let's talk about basic principles with citation, right? When we cite an author could be a person, an author could be an organization, an author could be a group of people, right? We should include the author and date. Date means the year, right? The author's last name, because actually we use the author last name and date. This is the basic principle for including citation in the test, right? And remember, when we cite a source, we can do it by quoting, in which case we use quotation marks. We can do it by paraphrasing the author's idea, right? Or we can just summarize the whole piece of work. Those are like the most common three strategies, like the three strategies through which we can cite someone. We can cite a source, right? By quoting, by paraphrasing, or by summarizing the whole paper. And basically in the text, we include the author's last name and the year. That's what goes in the test. But there are two formats for including citation. One is parenthetical and narratives, right? Parenthetical means like this here below, like call her, right? Call her 2016. I mean, the reference is included after the idea in parentheses, right? And narrative means that we take the last name of the author and we include it in the narration that we are doing. Remember last class when we study paragraph support, there are some phrases that we can use when quoting someone, in which case we use narrative citation, like according to, ¿cierto? Vargas 2020, o as it is stated by Cibaja 2020, right? Usually when we use those prompts, those phrases, it's because we're using narrative citations, in which case the last name of the author is out from the parentheses. That is important you have it clear. But if we don't use those type of those type of prompts, it just we include our narrative, our piece of writing, and we mix them because we paraphrase with the author. Then we include at the end, after the information, then a parenthetical citation. These two are the basic, the only two ways in which we can include a citation in the text, parenthetical or narrative. We're gonna watch a video, a short video about basic principle of citation, like so you can have information presented in another way, like pictures and this kind, so it could be clearer. Can you hear? Can you hear well? Guys, can you hear well?
No, teacher.
Let me sure that I'm sharing my computer sound. No, I wasn't. That's why. Okay, now it should work.
Can also help your readers find the same sources again. Citation styles are guidelines and conventions that different disciplines follow to present writing and sources in a consistent way. APA style, from the American Psychological Association, is a common citation style used in the sciences and social sciences. There are two main components of a citation. First, when you reference another source, include an in-text citation in the body of your paper. In APA style, this citation includes the author's last name or organization, comma, and the year in parentheses. If there are more than 3 authors, include the first author's last name, then use the abbreviation et al., which means and others. Then, include a complete citation in the reference list at the end of your paper. Your in-text and reference list citations should match. A reference list citation typically includes the author, the date, the title of the work, and the source, or information about where you can get it, including any URLs or other links. Each part is separated with a period. In the reference list, use a hanging indent and organize your references alphabetically by author's last name. This helps your readers skim through the list to find the reference for an in-text citation. Reference list citations vary based on the type of source you're citing and the information available. Use the official style manual or an online citation guide to check which details about the source you should include. Let's take a look at one example. In college, you'll probably be citing a lot of academic journal articles. First, include the last names and initials of the authors. Use the ampersand sign for and before the last author. Then include the year the article was published in parentheses. Next, include the title of the article in sentence case. This means only the first word of the title and subtitle and any proper nouns are capitalized. After that, include the academic journal where the article was published, in italics. Academic journals publish collections of articles throughout the year. A journal might have a volume for each year and publish a new issue every few months. Separate the journal and the volume with a comma and italicize the volume number too. If there's an issue number, include that in parentheses, and add the page range. Finally, include the DOI, or Digital Object Identifier, if it's available. This is a direct link to the article on the publisher's site. Formatting citations and your paper can require some attention to detail. If you're not sure how to cite a source using APA style, ask a librarian.
Okay, important things to remark about this. The first one. Every time you cite a source in the test, you must include the reference in the reference list, right? You cannot use sources or in-text citations and then not include them in the reference list. That's mandatory, because usually when you read a paper as a reader, right, and you find interesting one cite, one quotation, you would like to revise, to check, right, the source. And that's why we include a references list. So the reader, if the reader wants, can check the source and read deeper if the reader is interested. So that's the first thing you have to keep in mind. There will be a match, there must be a match between the in-text citation and the reference, the list of references. If you have 50 citations that are different, I mean from different authors or organizations, then you will have 50, right, references in your list of references. That is important. Another thing that is important is like to have in mind that each reference have 4 parts, and each part, like each block of the reference, it's separated by a period. Like first, the author's name. Remember that this is the last name and the initial of the name, right? Then the year, right? The name of the piece of writing, and then the source. Those are the 4 elements that any reference in APA style has. Keep that in mind. And in-text citations are composed by 2 elements: the author, last name, and the year. Remember, in the case of the in-text citation, we include, right? I mean, we made the decision of using parenthetical or narrative. Heider, go ahead.
Yeah, teacher, I had this question.
Okay, sure.
When I publish an article with another person or another two people, do our names go like in alphabetical order, or it doesn't matter? Because sometimes when I want to do the, when I want to use a citation, I don't know if I have to put those names of the authors like in alphabetical order.
Again, I mean, this a single piece of writing written by 2 people, like for example, that's what you mean? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. If we use like, I mean, if you're citing a piece of writing and it has more than an author, we include both in the citation, if it is 2, right? And in the reference, also the same. Now, which one go first? I mean, one reference and one citation. It's not that we are referencing the 2 of them because it's the same piece of writing. And I will show you examples now, right? Because there is no way that we can have a reference from one author and a reference for another author if it is the same, for example, book, if it is the same magazine article, if it is the same source. Actually, you could have like 20 authors in one single reference if the piece of writing was like made by all these people, right? Now the question is, who is named in the first place? Because usually if it is an in-text citation and it's more than 2 people, then we include the abbreviation et al, which means and others, right? It depends, right? Usually the one that goes to the publishing go first. I mean, the one that has more relevance for the piece of writing. So if you're working with another person on a single paper, you will be both mentioned. But if you're working like through 5 people, you will be mentioned in the reference list, but not in the text citation. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I answered your question.
You kind of, but I mean, I will ask this in Spanish because I feel more comfortable. Por ejemplo, cuando tenemos, tenemos este artículo que queremos citar y tiene 3 autores, ¿cierto? Ese título, en primer lugar, ¿cómo se define el orden de los nombres de esos autores para el título? O sea, ¿se decide en orden alfabético o no? ¿Y qué hay cuando yo lo quiero citar? ¿Tengo que citarlo justo como está ahí o lo cito en orden alfabético? Pues los apellidos.
When you mean
El orden ya.
Order, but you have clear that it's one reference, right? In one citation. It doesn't matter if you have 3
It's only one article.
Yeah, only one.
Yeah,
article.
exactly. One article.
Very good. The order of the name is according to the last names, right? Got it?
I understand, but is it like following like a path of the alphabet or not? Just the way it is in the title?
let's use an example. Let's use an example. Like for example,
Right.
I have here a PDF document. Okay, let's use this one as an example, right? For example, here, Wiener et al., right? Let's found 2020. Let's found this in the reference list. You see, there might be more than two authors for this reference, for this source. Because when we have two, we include it like this, like Cohen and Confer-Smith, right? We include the two of them. You see, first C, the last name, and then K in alphabetical order. C, K, because C goes first, K, right? But let's talk about this one. That has the one, Wiener et al. Let's find the reference list, which is in V here. So we have Wiener, right? Russia. We have Kroger. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we and 9, right? This is the last one. And now you see that although this is not the first alphabetical letter in the order, it is this the man. In this case, I think it's a man. It could be a woman, but it's the author that is mentioned at the beginning. Why? Because maybe that was a decision that they made together, or because this author is like most known than the rest, so it would be easier to track the paper, right? Or because this author is more relevant than the other ones. See my point? Haider, see my point?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I know, for example, let's suppose, what's your last name, Haider?
Monterrosa.
Okay, Monterrosa, mine is Martinez, right? According to that, if we write a paper together, I will go first. But let's suppose that we're working with Garcia, someone that is Garcia. And we work together on a paper, we say, wait, but for the reference, I want to be included first, because I have like written more than you, and it will be easy to track the paper if I appear in the in-text citation. So see my point?
Yeah. Well, that made our work a bit more difficult because I found some articles that do have their own citation, you know, in the paper, but some others don't have. So you have to make the citation, and then you don't know the deals they have, if they have an agreement or not. So
Okay.
how do you know it's going to be?
Usually when you read an article, let me show you again. The first name that appears is the first one that we cite. This one. Okay, this one doesn't have it, but okay, here we have the list of the authors. These are the authors. So we usually start by grade, then Ogurlu, then Logan, and then Cook. In the order the article presents the author, that is the order in which you are going to cite and make the reference, right? All the articles all the articles have like the list of author at the beginning, like near the title. All of them. There are no exceptions. That all the articles have the list of authors. So in the order you have the author presented, in that order you cite them. Does it make sense?
Okay, I understand.
Okay, because that was the order they decided, they made the agreement, right? Good. Let's go back to the presentation. Very good. So remember those principles. If we have an in-text citation, then we have a reference that corresponds to the in-text citation, right? And for in-text citation, we have parenthetical and narrative citations. Remember, parenthetical is when we don't include the author last name as part of the narration we are making through the paper. That's parenthetical. And narrative is when we use, right, the author last name as part of the narrative, as part of the writing we're doing. So let's go deeper with this lady that I love. It's the same that I presented last class.
So you've been told to include in-text citations in your paper, but don't know what exactly that entails. No worries, we've got you covered. In this video, we'll go through what to include in an APA in-text citation, where to place it in a sentence, and what to do with missing information. Let's jump right in. Hi, I'm Jessica from Scribbr, here to help you achieve your academic goals. Let's start with what's an in-text citation. An in-text citation is a concise way to identify the source of certain information. It helps the readers to locate the corresponding entry in the reference list at the end of your paper. The in-text citation consists of the author's last name, the publication year, and if you're citing a specific part of a source, the page number or other locator such as a timestamp, paragraph number, or even a heading. Page numbers are not required when you're referring to the source as a whole. By the way, you can generate your in-text citations super easily with Scribbr's free citation generator. Now there are two ways to integrate the in-text citation, parenthetical and narrative. For parenthetical citations, write the author name and the publication year within parentheses and place it at the end of the sentences, just before the period. For narrative citations, some information is incorporated in the running text. As you can see from these two examples, the year and page number are placed within the parentheses. It's either placed right after the author's name or at the end of the sentence just before the period. When your citation contains multiple authors, it can be quite confusing. Now, if your source has two authors, you use an ampersand between them, followed by the year. So here, it's Taylor ampersand Kotler, 2018. If your source has 3 to 5 authors, then for the first citation, you list out all the authors and only use the ampersand for the final one. From the second citation onwards, you only need the first author name, followed by et al., which means and others. And if a source has 6 or more authors, use et al. Right from the first citation. Don't forget a comma. In the 7th edition, the in-text citation for works with 3 or more authors is shortened right from the first citation using et al. Check out this video if you're interested to see what has changed in the 7th edition. Sometimes, you just can't find all the information you need to cite a source. Luckily, there are some guidelines for this. If the author is unknown, but you know the organization that created it, for example Scribbr, then you should use the organization name. If you don't, then use the title. When using the title, format it the same way as in the reference list, so either in italics or in double quotation marks. You might also come across sources without a publication year. In that case, use ND for no date. If your source doesn't have page numbers, include a chapter or paragraph number instead. With the rules I just mentioned, dealing with in-text citations should be all smooth sailing from here. But if you ever come across an exception, just check out the article in the description. For example, when you find yourself in a situation where 2 authors have the same last name. Fun fact, did you know that there are 2 million Smiths in the US alone according to the 2010 US Census? And that's it for this video. If you've learned something, give this video a like, and if you have any questions, ask away and I will reply. See you soon!
Okay, so any questions so far? No?
Yeah, teacher. Yeah, but it's about the last video. It's about I mean, when the girl talked about the match between the references and the index. I didn't understand. I didn't get it that part.
When the girl talked about what? The match between the index and reference list, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what she said, what she said, it was basically that if you include an in-text citation, you have to include the reference of that in-text citation. That's basically, and they have to be like a match, right, between the two. Like me, if you cite Carvajal 2020, right, then in the index, like in the reference list, you will find like Carvajal 2020. Life is a tragedy. That would be the title. Published in Unicórdoba magazine, for example. That's what the girl mean when there must be a match, right? That the in-text citation have the corresponding reference list. That's what she meant. That she meant. Yes, did I answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I got it.
Okay, so remember that for in-text citation we have two formats, which are parenthetical and narrative. Teacher, which one should I use? Which one is better? The one you feel more comfortable with, right? It is not like a rule that says you have to use parenthetical in-text citation in this case, and you have to use narrative in this case. It depends on your writing style. If you like to including the author because you think the author is relevant in the narrative you are doing about one idea, then you prefer using narrative citations. But if you don't want you prefer just go straight to the point, present the idea, paraphrase, summarize, or quote it, and then presenting the author, that's also your style and it's okay. So the format for the in-text citation depends on you. The references, the style you use for in-text citation depends also on your writing style, right? But there is no one that is better than the other one. Very good. So let's talk about the references. So as we discussed before, the reference, right, has basically 4 elements: an author, a date, a title, and a source, right? And this is the order in which they are presented in the reference list. So this is basically what you watch from the video, right? First we have the last name preceded by followed by a comma, and then the initial of the name. So in this case we know the author has 2 names, right? So Boto S point dot V dot comma and the other author. In this case we have 2 authors for the same article, for the same piece of writing, right? So that's the first one, the author. Or remember that the author could be one single person, a group of people, or could be an organization, right? Keep that in mind. Then we include the date in parentheses. We're talking about the reference, remember, in parentheses. Look that we separate the blocks, the parts, the elements of the references using dots, right? Like here and here. Then we include the name, right, of the article, of the book, of the piece of writing, the work you are citing. We include the name, and then we include the source. The source might include the name of the journal, in this case, which is Development Psychology, right? It includes the volume. Remember that they have volumes in magazines, and the issue. The issue number means the version of the article and how many times it have been published, right? And then we include the URL or the DOI, Digital Object Identifier. The URL, it is included when we don't have the digital object, right? And it's basically taken from the web search bar as it appears, and we paste it here in the reference. Or if we have the digital object identifier, then we include the digital object identifier. Almost all articles that are published, like from 5 years and up to this point, they have a digital object. So, and this source is presented in the very beginning or as a footnote in the article. So make sure you find it, right? So for example, if we are citing a piece of writing that is from a journal, is a journal, right? Article. This is the way it looks, right? Like the last name, I mean the author, then the year, the name, right? And the name of the article, the journal, sorry, goes in italics. Italics, yeah. Be careful about this. It means that the source, the name of the journal, right, goes in this format, right? And then the volume, the issue, and the pages. Because usually in a journal, we have like a compilation of articles. So we need to make sure from which page up to that one, right, it is include this article specifically. Because you may find, for example, in a journal, you may find 20 articles. And of course, each article have a page range, right? This is the way it would look in parenthetical citation, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 author, and this is the way it would look in text citation in the narrative style, right? This is for a journal. Journal is like the most common one. This is from a magazine, right? From a magazine is quite the same of a journal. We include the author's last name, but in the case of a magazine, you include the whole date, like the year, the month, and the day in which the magazine is published. Because magazine is like saying in Spanish, revistas. And you know that these kind of magazines are published by month. And they have publication, for example, the first 10 days of April, and also the first 10 days of June. So each 3 months or each 6 months. So that is why when we take an article from a magazine, right, we include like the month and the date and the day. Then we include the name, right? The name of the piece of writing, and then we include the name of the magazine, like Newsweek. Look at this again, the format italics, right? This is basically again parenthetical citation and narrative citations, right? We have it here. Remember, a journal is different from a magazine. And teacher, what is a journal then? A journal are specialized web pages in which we publish research articles, specifically research, right? Like most rigorous and formal pieces of writing, but comes from research. A magazine is just, it could be an editorial, it could be not necessarily the piece of writing comes from an investigation process, like from a research process, right? So this one, a journal, obviously in terms of academic, in the academic world, is more acceptable, it's more formal, it's more elaborated, it's more valid to say that. Sometimes we can take information from YouTube as a reference, right? If you like have a topic in mind, you type the topic on the YouTube search bar, and then you watch a video that has interesting information about it, and you found something that is interesting and that you might cite, right? So we also have like a format for YouTube video, right? The first one, we include the author. If it is a YouTube video, I mean, if it is a particular YouTuber, right? In this case, the author is Harvard University, right? Then we include the year, in parentheses, the month, and the day in which the video was published. Then we include the name of the video, right, in italics, followed by brackets with the word video, just to make clear that it's a video, right? Then we include the name of the platform, in this case is YouTube, right? And then we include the link from which we got the video. If we use it in a parenthetical way in the test, then this is the way it looks, like Harvard University, right, 2019. Or if it is a narrative, you see, we include the name as part of the narration and then the year in parentheses. Basically, is the same format like from a journal or like from a magazine, right? I mean, in text citation. What changes is the reference, but the in text citation follow like the same principle. If you are citing exactly, you are quoting something from a specific minute in the video, because there might be a video that lasts like 2 hours, for example, about a topic, maybe a conference or something, then you include, right, like specifically the number of the minute in which you took the quotation, for example, if it is a quotation. Remember, we include the page in the in-text citation when we take a specific information from a specific part in the piece of writing. It could be a written paper, it could be a video, it could be also a podcast, because we can also like have citation for podcasts and from Facebook and others, right? So you include like the exact point from where you took that idea. But if you're citing something in general, like, okay, I watched the video 2 hours and this is the idea what I got from the video, then you don't have to include the minutes. If you got like it's summarizing, if you refer to the whole idea of the paper, then you don't have to include the page in the citation, right? Very good. Any questions so far? No? Okay, let's continue. From YouTube, because it's something you like using and it's acceptable, even APA recognize that that information could be valid for citations, you have to pay attention to 2 things. If it is a channel, a YouTube channel, the one that is like uploading the information, uploading the video, or if it is a specific author, right? So for example, in the case of channel, let's say for example, Scribe, the channel the lady was talking about, APA. In that case, if we want to cite that source, then we mention the channel, not the author, right? So we would mention like Jessica as a reference. No, Jessica, APA citation, no. We mention the channel, which is Scribe, right? So in this case, for example, there is a channel in YouTube that is called APA Publishing Training. Usually channels has no date, usually. But if you find the date, you can add it. ND means no date, when you don't have the year. I mean, the day of the publication of the video, right? And you say, for example, home, that would be the name, right? I mean, the main part of the channel, because remember that channels are divided like in sections. And you say in brackets, okay, this is from a YouTube channel. And it was retrieved, okay, that's what you're going to include, the day in which you took the information, right? Okay, I got the information, this date, so you include it, retrieve February, the month, the date, and then the year, and the link, right? Here we have another example. The channel is called Walker, right? Another one that has no date. In this case, it's another, but it's the name of the channel, right? It's a YouTube channel. It was from YouTube. It was taken from a playlist, not from home, but from a playlist, right? The information. So, and you include the rest of the information, like the month, the date, and the year, and also the link. Parenthetical citation, APA Publishing Training, no date, Walker, ND, right? A narrative, this way. Very good. In YouTube, you may find also a specific channel that is called TED, that is very famous around the world, right? And it's actually a website. So, if you watch a video in YouTube and it's from this organization, then you will go to the link of the organization and you get the citation like this, right? It's just a matter of being careful with the format. You don't have exactly to remember, I mean, all the things, like first this one and memorize everything. You have to just make sure that you know what are the elements of a reference, and you have 4, right? and what are the elements and format for in-text citation. If you remember that, you will be okay, because when you have doubts, right, then you will go and check the manual and make sure you are citing in the correct way. Like the most used, the most sources used in academic communities are like magazines, like journals and books, right? And they are quite similar. Remember that the only difference between a journal and a magazine is that we include in the date the complete date, including the month and including the date. And in journal, we only include the year. That's it, right? Good. So this one, the previous one was one taken from directly from this web page, and this one is taken from YouTube, because you know that Ted has a YouTube channel. So the format is a little bit different, because then he will include the web page, and then we include here the channel, like the link, the direct link. Sometimes we could also have it like have references from online media, right? In this case, for example, if we got a post from Facebook that you find it like interesting and you think you can use it as a reference, this is the way we do it from Facebook, right? News from science, there would be like the web page and the post, sorry, the name of the post, the year, the date, the month and date in which was published, the name in italics, right? And then if it is an image attached or a status update in Facebook, and the link. If it is, this one is a post and this one is from a Facebook page, it's different. It has like less elements, right? Usually when a Facebook page, we don't include the date, like no date. From pages, from web pages, we usually don't include dates. Like from a YouTube channel, we don't include the date, but from an author specifically from YouTube, then we include the date, right? Okay, that's basically like the main principles. Now I'm going to show you something about APA style. This is the link that I send you through the chat of Zoom. If you have doubts about references, then go to this link, click here, right, and check if it is about in-text citation or it is about references. Here you can compare like different, right? Like parenthetical versus narrative citation, like basic principle, like how to paraphrase, like how to make quotations, just in case you have like doubts. And which is, in-text citation are not that difficult as are building up references, because the format for our references depend on the sources. But usually in-text citation has two formats, narrative and parenthetical, and that's it. And they follow like the same principle. But what you have to be careful about is references. So you may like check like examples from textual works in which each includes journal, magazine, newspaper, blogs, up-to-date articles, or from book, diagnostic manual, etc., right? Or you can have it from data sets like artwork references, like clip art and stock images references. If you want to reference like just a picture, like audiovisual media, like this, for example, like PowerPoint, online, tech talks, transcripts, like online media, like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, online forums, even TikTok. You can have like reference from TikTok, and APA style accept them, like Twitter, right? So it is important. What is important here is you have in mind the basis, and then you follow the basis and make sure and check the manual when you have doubts, right? Another thing that I want to make your life easier. Okay. I will teach you how to use this type of reference manager later on, maybe the next class. That would be really helpful. But I will teach you like a trick for saving you time. If you are writing a piece of paper about a topic, use Google Scholar, right? Let's say, for example, remote education. Let's say that I'm talking about remote education. Include it in quotation marks, because that way you will be like, you will have things specifically with that topic, right? That is relevant in the article. So for example, this here in this part, I could have the reference made, like APA. I have it here ready. I just copy it and paste. If you are using, right? If you're using this article, and then you go to the page references, and you just include it, right? And that's it. What you have to be careful about is that you have to indent it, this. You have to move it, sorry. The second line and the other ones, always from a reference list, like this. This is the format, right? You have to move it. So you move it here with the ruler in Microsoft Word, one by one, and then you organize them, right? With a reference manager, you don't have to do this. You export, you will export like a file, right? Like Mendeley desktop. You will import it, then the reference would appear here, and then you just cite it from the reference manager, because I have it installed here. It would be insert citation, like go to Mendeley. Let's say I'm going to include this. I click on cite. It gives me immediately, sorry, it gives me, I'm gonna do here because I included in this one. Okay, I included here from the reference manager. Look, that has a special format, and then I included in the text. In this case, parenthetical. If you're going to use it as a narrative, you can like edit it, right? Move it and edit it. And then at the end, when you finish your work, you say insert my bibliography, and you see the reference manager does it for you. And all the references that you have cited through the reference manager will be included in your reference list. And they will be, you will have like this problem of, I have to check the in-text citation and the reference. Do they match? Because the reference manager does this work, and you don't have to care about. I think we have the other session we have next week. We will cover this issue about this reference manager, and I will teach you how to use it and take advantage. But so far, sorry. But so far, if you don't want, I mean, if you think you could get all the information, all the sources you would need to support your ideas from Google, which is very vast, right? They have plenty of sources, like millions of articles. You just import it from here, copy it and paste it, and then edit it the format, right? Good. This is the way. This is a journal. This is an article that was published in an American Journal of Qualitative Research, right? A very recognized journal, the one we were like seeing there. It is about remote learning, right? In this pandemic. It is very recent, actually it's this year, 2020, right? And if you see here, for example, the intake citations are like, almost all of them are parenthetical, because this is the style the author prefers using. Something you have to also keep in mind is the general format of your paper. According to the APA, the first line of each paragraph has to be indented, right? Like move it aside to the right, only the first one, like you see here, 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 right? Like here, here. And we usually use Times New Roman size 12, or we use Arial 11, or we use Calibri 11, I think. Those are like the most accepted formats for letter in APA. If you go to the page of APA, you can check that also. You say, for example, paper format. Here you can like line spacing, like title page, like font, like paragraph alignment and an indentation, like margins. So you just, for example, if you go to here, you say, okay, font. There is a variety, but the most accepted are, they classify in sans serif fonts and serif fonts, like for example, such as Calibri 11 points, right? Or this Arial 11 points, or Times New Roman, right? 12 points, or Georgia 11 points. So you prefer the one you like the most, but keep in mind the size of the letter, depending on the font, right? And the format. Also, the way you should like work title page setup, like it gives you an example. This is a title page according to APA, right? This is the way we do it. I mean, you can check many things. If you have doubt to APA, you can go to this website and just go to the, even you have something about punctuation, how to use commas, spelling, capitalization, number, how to use italics and words in bold, enumeration, chapters within a test, and other things. It's always a good idea to check. Very good. So I was saying before, this, for example, this article has like one narrative citation. Let me look at it. This one, for example. Although the majority of them are parenthetical, here the author used like a narrative, right? And the other thing you have to be careful is the way you make your reference list. It is not called bibliography. Bibliography is very different from references. In the bibliography, you will have the source and some annotations, some ideas about the book, the article, or something else, right? But here in the references, you know, the main four elements: author, right? Year, the name of the article, and the journal and the source. That's it. Those four elements, and that's it. And be careful about the alphabetical order. And also, look, the second line, I mean, apart from the first one, the other lines of the references are indented to the right. I show you how to move them. Any question? We are done with the presentation and with this with APA. I don't know if you have a question regarding to this. Guys? Any question? Hello?
No, teacher.
Okay.
No questions.
Sure. So you will have an assignment for this week, and it's basically working on APA. Here, I'm giving you all the information from books, web pages, or articles, right? Like I give you the author's name, the title, in this case the journal, the year of publication, right? The page number, and the page articles, and the quotation, the page of the quotation. This is the quotation. What you have to do is to make an in-text citation with this, right? Like, according to Smith, 2010, you can paraphrase it or you can use it like in quotation. You build up the in-text citation, right? And then here below, you include and make the reference for these works. Like for example, this one is from a journal. So you know they should include the last name, right? Then the year, then the name of the article, which is this, then the name of the journal in italics, right? In this case, we don't have volume and we don't have issue number, so you would omit them, right? You would omit that part. You will not include it because we don't have the volume here, and that's it. But in this case, that we have another journal, in this case, I'm giving you the volume and the issue. So you will include the volume and the issue, right? Once you finish all this, then at the end, you will include a reference list. It means you are taking all your references, you're giving them format here and organize them in alphabetical order. Is it clear what you're going to do?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Let me see. Yes, very good. Okay, that's it for today. If you don't have question, we can go and look for our.
Do we need to write our names on the chat?
Sorry?
Do we need to write our names on the chat?
Sure, thank you, mister. Sure. Please, everybody, please go to the chat and write your name and last name. Thank you very much, Hayden. Hello, are your names? Okay. Gabriela, Adalberto. María José, Gina, Natalia, Yelisa, Hernán, María Lucía. What about the rest?
Right,
Guys,
teacher. Have a good day.
Gillian Chima, José Sayek, Giselle de la Rosa.
Mister,
Gillian,
I don't have here the point about reference.
sorry.
Could you hear me?
Didn't get it. Say that again.
Yes, about reference,
What happened?
the worship.
Yeah, I'm going to
What
upload
we are
everything.
gonna do,
The class
to put all the
presentation.
reference.
Yeah, I'm going to include the class presentation, also the links that I already give you through this chat, and the worksheet in Cynthia. You will find another unit that is called APA style. There you will find everything, right? Including even the class, the video of the class. Okay, bye-bye. Take care. Hope you enjoy your meal.
Bye, God bless.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye-bye.